Let's move to someone who is a breath of fresh air to gain relief from this madness. And Catherine McGregor joins us again. Thank God for you, Catherine. Good evening.
Good evening, Alan. Nice to hear your voice.
I want to resume where we were last week on this external threat to Australia, but
Sure.
There are two important issues I want to raise with you tonight. China is, of course, one of them. Before we go, though, There was all this talk about Russian interference in the American election. There's a report from Britain's Parliamentary Intelligence and Security Committee overnight. Now, the report was completed in March last year, but only released yesterday, which said Russia had meddled in the 2014 Scottish independence referendum. But committee members said they could not conclude that the Kremlin had tried to meddle in the 2016 Brexit vote because the UK government and intelligence agencies had not made any efforts to find out. What do you make of that?
Well, I think the committee's finding was very damning. I saw the spokesman on the news earlier. Alan, I'd say it is perfectly possible that Russia interfered in those ballots because they operate in this grey zone that we talked about. We did discuss hybrid warfare fleetingly last week. Russia has been the pioneer in this field of military operations, full spectrum operations. What they decided at the end of the Cold War, just some context for the viewers, the Russian general staff militarily were bewildered at the collapse of the Soviet Union. How did we lose this war without firing a shot? And they commissioned work into what they thought were the fault lines in democratic societies. They looked at their own house as well, and they came up with this concept, and depending on who you attribute authorship to, Yevgeny Primakov or else Valery Gerasimov, who was an esteemed chief of the general staff. Their operations include these kind of cyber attacks, denial of service operations, which they employed in Ukraine, and this massive use of troll farms, which certainly were used to hack the Democratic National Committee email system and so on in 2016 in the United States. We know that. So if they've done that in the UK, it doesn't surprise me because you have a large expatriate community of oligarchs based with business interests in Britain. There's quite a strong link, and they are old Cold War rivals, as you'd recall. So the idea of Russian interference in Britain is not beyond the pale, and this is straight out of the Primakov playbook, frankly.
Amazing. Look, you cited the Israeli Azar Gat researcher and author on military history last week, saying that war is being fought by proxy. Should we be concerned about the story today that China has overtaken America as Australia's major partner in scientific research? There was a 13% increase in the number of Australian research papers published in collaboration with Chinese co-authors last year. And one of the study's authors from the Australia-China Relations Institute said this was due to China's rise as a global hub of scientific knowledge creation. But Alex Josky, a China analyst at the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, warned that materials science was a field of intense interest to the Chinese. Now, given, Catherine, that this is about applied physics and chemistry, interdisciplinary studies, part of the race the world over to make things stronger, cheaper, lighter and more functional, are China getting benefit out of research, our research and our science?
Absolutely. And Alex Josky, just to give the viewers some context, Alex was born in Beijing, is a fluent Mandarin speaker, and he's very credible on matters relating to China. He's made detailed studies of what are called their United Front operations, which include infiltration of universities, the appropriation of intellectual property, technological transfer, which is a euphemism for theft of technological expertise from other countries. I had the pleasure of watching a webinar he participated in just a couple of weeks ago with scholars from Germany and other parts of Europe, where they're very alarmed at what has been done by these so-called joint ventures with China. And the United Front has really become a prominent arm of Chinese soft power under Xi. It was founded before he became the chairman, but it is intensifying its activities right across the free world, or what's left of it. And their collaboration, I think, should be viewed with alarm. So I don't think it's just a routine matter of business, because I don't think China does routine business. All of these businesses or...
Yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No, just finally, I wanted to say to you, so is this war by proxy that you're talking about?
Well, it's full spectrum operations in that sense. War by proxy, I define that more as use of proxy forces like Hezbollah by the Iranian Revolutionary Guards, for instance, but certainly Confucius Institutes, joint collaboration with tertiary institutions are part of this entire whole of society method of undermining and influencing, which both Russia and China have. They've been very transparent. They've written voluminous amounts of military doctrine on it, saying this is how they operate. And they look at these fault lines in our society and seek to exploit them. So it's a trend to view with alarm in answer to your question.
And it's the universities and the classrooms, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's the battlefront. There's no doubt about it.